Senator, how are you?
Hello, I'm Mark Andrews, your town administrator, and welcome to the March 16th report of your town administrator. This is a series of programs designed to keep you, the Wareham taxpayers, and other residents updated on a myriad of activities and programs that are going on in your town of Wareham. It's my report on where we have been, where we are going, and how we intend to get there. Today's show, I want to talk about a couple of items, some in-house in Town Hall, and you might have heard me say this before, 90% of what is important to me happens outside of Town Hall. We have a new leadership team. We're working to rebuild a lot of programs and important projects that I'm sure you will agree are of the highest importance to the town going forward. And one of them is the replacement of our town assessor. Sheila Scaduto moved on to bigger and better things, as they say, and we are now in the process of replacing our director of assessment. And I've consulted with the town assessors and the chairman, Mr. Steve Curry, and I sat down on February 18th, talked about how we go about replacing this important position. You know, as we set a tax rate, the assessing office, it plays a very important and critical role in making certain that we have that tax rate set, as we have for the past 2 years, which I am proud of. So today I have announced that I have formed, I have appointed a review committee, including Mr. Curry, the chairman of the Board of Assessors, or his designee, the town accountant, Elizabeth Zaleski, the town treasurer collector, Mr. John Foster, Mr. Miles Burke, our director of building and inspectional services, and this is critical because of the interaction of permits and growth and how that factoring happens over time. Our director of once again our treasurer collector, and Mr. Derek Sullivan, who's our new financial analyst, who worked on a number of projects with the assessor's office and the treasurer collector's office, including our betterment review that went back to the beginning of time and plotted out our betterment program in the town of Wareham with Suffolk University interns. And of course, a member of the Board of Selectmen and Chairwoman Jane Donahue has appointed Stephen Holmes to join us in this effort. Secondly, I want to talk to you about something that's going to be coming up. As we studied this issue last year, it became apparent to me that we needed some action, and that's regarding parking in and around our beaches and waterfront areas. And so I have appointed a task force on parking improvements. And what does this mean? This means that we want to go out and look at, as we have other towns, seaport towns, that destination points along the south coast and North Shore, to find better ways to get parking revenues, which are recurring revenues from visitors that would come and use our parking facilities, and maximize that opportunity so that we can make it very easy for visitors to come and have a destination in the town of Wareham on our beaches, but also look to technology as a way of improving the ability to collect this very important recurring revenue source. With that said, the task force will include Mr. Mark Gifford, our Director of Municipal Maintenance, Ms. Eleanor Martin, who is the newly elected President of the Onset Bay Association. Thank you, Eleanor. Jackie Lindsay from Wareham Association, and also Gary Buckminster, our Harbor Master, and Walter Cruz and Steve Holmes have been asked to join. Walter and I spent some time out really looking at various projects in town, and I'm proud to say, working with Selectman Cruz and Holmes, we'll be able to form a very formidable committee to look at improving existing parking systems with the main focus on public safety and getting additional access to parking areas in the town of Wareham. The next area I'd like to brief you on is that we have a very important conference that has cost the town absolutely nothing to participate in, and it involves our emergency response training at Noble Training Center in Anniston, Alabama. And at this point in time, through this entire week, we have participating in this program Bob Ethier, our health agent, Gary Buckminster, our harbor master, David Evans, our director of emergency medical response, Glenn Gifford and John Walchuk from the Wareham Police Department, Jeffrey Oswald and Raymond Goodwin from Onset Fire, and Mr. David Wallstrom from Wareham Fire Department. Once again, participating. All of these costs and training to travel to the South Coast has been paid through South Coast Hospitals Group, as well as the Federal Emergency Medical Agency. Federal Emergency Management Agency. And that training is important because training is a continuous opportunity to educate and to become better prepared for natural disasters or some other type of disaster or tragedy. As we've seen around the world, you can't be too prepared these days to have our leadership team updated on new techniques and taking advantage once again of educational opportunities and professional development. I also want to update you that on March 1st, I had an opportunity to sit down with our friends of the elderly, and that included Ms. Yvonne Stone and Mr. Larry Gaines and their entire group, and we talked about a number of new programs and topics that would be of interest to you, one of which is a food program that provides a little bit more or expansion, if you will, of the current food program that we have for those in need. It will involve a refrigeration unit and some additional planning, but the idea would be to offer fresh and frozen foods through our pantry in our multi-purpose center, and to do that on a regular basis. And several events are also planned that are fundraisers to keep this group working on your behalf in a very hard way to make certain that we have good programs for our seniors, and I'll keep you posted on the progress of these new programs. The next area of interest, we had a break in the Onset Stonebridge sewer pipe. Might not sound like a big issue, but an 8-inch sewer main steel pipe had rusted and corroded over some years and did not discharge into the bay, but there was a seal crack, and that crack caused us the ability to be put in place an emergency response plan. You may see some interruption in part of the traffic pattern over the bridge during the weeks of March 14th through the 18th, and perhaps even into next week. But the idea is to replace the entire span as we investigated further. Our capital needs in town are great, we know that. But one thing that we will not tolerate, I will not tolerate, is any interruption in the sewer system or break in the sewer lines that would cause some potentially catastrophic environmental impact. So with that being said, I want to compliment Guy Campina and his entire team for moving forward. We received emergency authorization from the Massachusetts Department of Revenue, Local Bureau of Accounts, to move forward with this, as well as the Massachusetts Division of Capital Asset Management. And these are the state agencies that help coordinate projects like this so that you can get them done efficiently and effectively, and hopefully at the lowest possible cost. I also want to provide an update to you on capital planning. It has come to my attention through the Capital Planning Committee that we really should be looking at, if we are planning for the future, ways to combine resources, maximize our efforts with regards to a potential plan for a public safety complex. And what this means is that in many cities and towns, joint operations between public safety elements of police and fire and ambulance service have been combined in one complex. And that does save resources with regards to utilities, with regards to providing services to the general public. So I wanted to make you aware, as I have my Board of Selectmen, that this working group including, once again, staff individuals working with me, Chief Richard Stanley, David Evans from our EMS area, Gary Buckminster, our Harbor Master, and Chief Bob McDuffie from Wareham Fire. We've been finding time to compare notes and find out ways that what would it take to program each of these areas to place them in a more efficient and effective public safety complex. And that being said, we'd be looking for very creative ways to find the resources to finance this type of an effort. The next area I want to talk about is that the Board of Selectmen formally adopted and has sent back to me. I drafted a financial policy on our Stabilization Fund. Now let me just talk a little bit about this fund. It's a fund like you have in your household. It's a fund that we have working in town hall or in a business, where you put a certain amount of dollars aside to plan for stabilization, for a rainy day, for a catastrophe, for a building project, when you want to be able to put your resources in place to move a particular capital project forward. And that stabilization policy was adopted by the Wareham Board of Selectmen, 5-0 voted last evening to put in place. And what it says is that it asks that the town administrator put aside up to 3% of what we have in have in our account of local receipts, and that includes permits and fees and other types of revenue that we grow locally. So if we can put 3% aside of that each year, and that amounts to about 150, depending upon what the receipts are, to $200,000 per year. That's an important factor going forward. It says to everybody looking at our financial record that we've been really putting a tremendous amount of effort into, that we are fiscally stable, that we are working very hard to iron out a number of issues in town that impact us on a fiscal basis, day to day, week to week, and month to month. So in this particular case, and working very closely with the Board of Selectmen and our Finance Committee, I think this is a good policy, and one of which we have adhered to over the past 2 years. I wanted to brief you on that. Last year I put in, and it was approved at town meeting and voted, by the way, favorably by the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee, $100,000 set aside. And in this year's budget, the fiscal 2012 budget, I put aside $150,000 for this express purpose of building up that reserve again. You know, it was up there at one point in time, and it became too easy to drain that out and pull those resources out in difficult times without tightening our belt where we needed to, in my opinion, but making certain that we have a decent reserve in accounts. And some I've looked at other towns, we've researched this, towns of Lexington and Concord and Andover, some of the more affluent towns in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts have taken time to do the exact same thing. And they have different formulas. Lexington planned a 10-year program where they put certain amount of reserve dollars aside for their future. And we'll be doing the same thing in the town of Wareham. And that's an important factor going forward. The last item I would like to talk about, actually 2 more items. We have a set of draft policies from the Federal Environmental Protection Agency. And these draft policies are looking at storm water and programs to eliminate some of the environmental impact in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And we have worked with our attorneys from Koppelman and Page, and we have filed with 30 plus other communities to rebut some of the programs that the EPA are putting in place. We all share the same goal with regards to ensuring that the environment is safeguarded, making certain that the objectives of eliminating pollution in our waterways and streams and rivers and coastlines are top priority. But when you put on top of cities and towns along the Merrimack, South Coastal watershed regions, close to $1 billion worth of unfunded mandate. I didn't say $1 million, I said $1 billion of unfunded mandate. It's important for us to step up and get clarification and to ask the federal government and state government to partner with us, that those dollars just can't come out of the local side of this equation. Those dollars and those policies have to be part of a intergovernmental relation that we need to have with both the federal, state, and local governments in this area. So from the towns of Haverhill to Leominster to Millbury to Pembroke to Plymouth, Sturbridge, Upton, Westminster, and Wareham, and a slew of other cities and towns, we were asking for clarification to let the cities and towns know what are their obligations. How can we plan and work together to make certain that we meet the goals and objectives of this new program and protect our watersheds. It's affectionately known as MS4, and it is a draft general permit. What that means is that we get a chance to comment, that these regulations just don't go into effect, and we siphon off $1 billion from these communities. What we do know is that we have the ability to ask for a clarification, to make certain that we know what our obligations are going forward and budget accordingly, but include with that our partners at the state and federal levels of government. The last thing I want to talk with you about today is a very exciting, the second annual Wareham Works Economic Development Summit. I've been working with Brenda Ekstrom on our Board of Selectmen, and we have worked together under the leadership of Jane Donahue and the entire board to put this program together. And what it will involve is a trades fair type of atmosphere, a little less than business casual, on Saturday, March 26th, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. We've assembled a great working group of trades. The motif, the goal here in Wareham is a program called B2B, which is basically business to business. We're working very hard to connect businesses together. Those that need services or goods should be sharing those relationships with businesses in Wareham. Let's grow our local economy together so that businesses can have that business relationship in town. Yes, you can go out into the region or into the greater Boston area, but we would prefer that you do your business in town. And so with that being said, we have some very prestigious guests that will be providing us with very short vignettes or updates on what's happening in their world. And the first and foremost includes what's happening with the Route 6 and 28 reconstruction project. It's a $15 million program. Today I'm going up to our regional planning agency, SERPID, with member Walter Cruz from the Board of Selectmen to fight for additional dollars to make sure that we have our dollars in place for this full-depth reconstruction roadway program. It's going to include new things like sidewalks on Cranberry Highway, new lighting, better use of utilities, moving poles back off of closeness to the roadway surfaces, full-depth reconstruction, a better way to organize, if you will, our transportation needs in town. So we have invited as a presenter the Massachusetts Office of Transportation. They will be there with their consultants from VHB to present information to you, the general public. All are invited, by the way. This is not just about business. It's about making certain that we get the message out that we are working on our economic development front. And that being said, we've also invited participants from the Massachusetts Office of Business Development. The Massachusetts Department of Housing and Community Development will be making a presentation. We also have other developers in town that will be bringing information to you, and town offices that will participate. The Upper Cape Regional Technical High School will be participating. We have a number of local entities, as I've indicated, our local Workforce Investment Board, the group that's growing jobs and trying to bring employment opportunities to you, the Wareham residents, and your children through summer programs, which we're fighting hard for. So we have a complete group of businesses that will be coming, restaurants participating as well, including Lindsay's restaurant, Mark Anthony's, and a whole slew of other restaurants that will be there. So it's going to be a great opportunity to collect information, get an update on B2B, which is once again this concept of business to business, and getting new and factual information out to the general public on a very important roadway, $15 million roadway improvement program that will be coming to us very shortly. So that being said, I wanted to make certain that we touched upon that very important part of our second annual Wareham Works Economic Development Summit, once again focusing on business to business connections, and it's going to be right here at Town Hall in our Town Hall auditorium, once again on Saturday, March 26th, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. One more thing to add to a very, once again, important program today is that I've been working very hard with Chief Richard Stanley, and we are what we call engaged in a process of agreement, of trying to find an agreement, contract negotiation to bring the chief to Wareham. And that has been the goal from the beginning. The Board of Selectmen asked me to work on that. It's a very complex process, given the fact that there are a myriad of nuts and bolts that go into this. It's not just sitting down and talking about a contract. It's about involving the state and the regulations that govern civil service, and also making certain that we can come to an understanding that is reasonable for you, the Wareham taxpayers. And I have to say to you that I've been so impressed with Chief Richard Stanley. You know, he arrived here before I did, and hails from the town of North Andover. Did not know the man. I might have met him once or twice in my tenure, and I'm so impressed with his leadership. He has instilled the highest work ethic. One of the most important elements of building morale is having a leader, and that's why we call our departmental heads our leadership team. When Rick Stanley comes to leadership team, he leads, and he provides information and documentation and results. And I'll share with you one of the most important results that we had was a program called Safe Summer 2010. You may have heard about it, but it was linking the most basic things of having the same communication mechanism between police who are in sector cars, police that are on bicycles, police that are on foot patrols in our area beaches throughout the summer, connected to the harbor master, connected to emergency medical services, connecting to our new lifeguard program, which was a starting up of a program and a tremendous effort put forward to get that up and working by Miles Burke and the entire team. So what we did have, and we kept a log, obviously, a couple bee stings, some sprained ankles, stepping on glass, but we didn't have any major issues in and around our waterways, and I'm proud to say that we had a Safe Summer 2010. I intend to have a Safe Summer 2011 with Chief Stanley working very closely with us to make certain that that happens. And you know, in any contract negotiation, a number of things come up in terms of where we are in our careers and what types of flexibility that we have along those lines. And I can't speak for the chief, I can speak for the town. We have put a very strident effort forward to bring Chief Stanley here to make certain that we can lock that contract down and to provide a program. And if it doesn't happen, you know what? We'll be able to move forward with our Plan B, called something called a special assessment program. And what the state has promoted is a assessment center where our own officers, the superior officers, would take and participate in an assessment exercise over a 2-day period, where they would be tested, if you will, with real life, real results situation. It's more than just taking a civil service examination. We know that, and we know the history behind why we have civil service testing. But the important part is that in the end, we have that leader that's important to you that can lead us forward through Safe Summers 2011, 12, 13 going forward, and working throughout the year to make certain that we have the highest level of morale and the highest level of participation by our police department and the entire public safety operations in the town of Wareham. So that's what I've been doing, working hard to try to find the right method by which we can get Chief Stanley under agreement and then if not, have a backup plan to be able to provide you, the Wareham taxpayers, with the highest and best results. That being said, thank you, and we'll see you next time. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you found this program informative and interesting. I welcome your feedback on both the content and the format. If you want to discuss issues with me, I can be reached at area code 508-291-3100, extension 3107. You can email me at mandrews@wareham.ma.us, or come into my Thursday office hours. Every Thursday from 3 p.m. to whenever we wrap up. I have open office hours. No appointments needed. Just come to the town administrator's office and you'll be served, and we'll work on your issues or solve your problems of the day. Once again, I want to thank you, and we'll see you next time.